Hi guys, it's Matthew here. Welcome back to another video on my channel today. And in today's video, guys, I am gonna be giving you guys my top 10 movies that I think are good movies, but a lot of people hate on, as a matter of fact. So yes, I'm gonna be giving you guys my top 10 movies that I think are like way overhated, and I think that they're good movies and people do not give these movies enough credit. I think so. These are movies that I like, I think are good, but they get so overhated and people don't like them, as a matter of fact. So yeah, that is what I'm going to be doing here for you guys today in this video, as a matter of fact. Those of you guys that are new to the channel, I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also do Lego related stuff. I play video games. I do all sorts of stuff like that and more like it. So if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube, be sure you hit that like button as well as that red subscribe button. But most importantly, make sure you press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. But with all that out of the way, guys, enjoy the video. Let's get started here. Alright, so coming in at number 10 here, I'm going to give it to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So now, a lot of people say this is the worst out of all the Indiana Jones movies. And honestly, I agree. And the reason why it's a little bit lower on this list is because I do agree that it's the worst Indiana Jones movie, but I don't think it's a bad movie. Actually, I think all of the Indiana Jones movies are good, but yes, this one is my least favorite out of all the Indiana Jones movies because the story's off and whatnot. I still think it's just as good as like all the other Indiana Jones movies because it still has like all like the cool action sequences like the other three have, and the Dial of Destiny. The gunfights that they have in this movie are really cool. They even got like a really cool car chase roaming through the jungle in there as well. I think that this movie is very well done, but I will agree though that the story is off. And this is definitely the weakest out of the Indiana Jones movies. And to be honest, I don't think there is a bad Indiana Jones movie in my opinion though. So yes, I think that this movie deserves a little bit more credit than it gets. Coming in at number 9 now, I actually have Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. So, after Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I don't understand why people hate this movie so much. Like when I watched all the Terminator movies for my very first time, like a year or two ago, I'm all like, why is this movie overheated? And I'm all like, this movie is not that bad, people. I mean, out of it is my least. This is another case scenario where it's my least favorite out of the first three Terminators, but still, this is not a bad movie in my opinion. Why is this movie so overhated? Like, to be honest, I really like the villain in this movie. I like the T-800, like as always. I think that this movie this is another one that I think is really cool, and it's very well driven because of like all the action sequences and like gunfights that go on in this movie. Yeah, I just don't understand why this movie is so overheated. I will 100% agree that this one does not have the strongest story. It's not as strong as the first two movies, but I still think that this is a good movie, and this is another one that I think just deserves more credit, and I feel like this movie is just overhated for like no good reason, like at all. Up next at number 8, going into the superhero genre now, and for totally different reasons now on why I have this movie on the list, I have Madam Web. So now, if you guys did see my ranking of like all the Spider-Man Sony villain spin-off movies, you guys will probably know that I actually really enjoy Madam Web. And to be honest, I think it was like at number 3 in my ranking of all 6 of those movies, and a lot of people have it way lower on their list. And this is another one that I feel like doesn't deserve like all the hate that it gets. And to be honest, the reason why I liked this movie is because it took place in like a different time period in like the Spider-Man universe. So those of you guys that don't know anything about this story, it's a prequel to the origin story in a comic book about the 4 Spider Women teaming up to protect Mama Parker because she's pregnant with Peter Parker, because this bad guy is trying to kill Mama Parker so she can't have Peter Parker in the future, and the 4 of them have to protect Mama Parker. And Madam Web is a prequel to that story. So the one that's blind in the comic book is Madam Web. But before she goes blind, she goes blind at the end of the movie, but before that happens, she gains the ability to see the future. And these three teenage girls that she meets become the other 3 Spider Women in the future. And this bad guy is like out to kill them, so they can't become the Spider Women in the future, and so she has to protect them and kill the bad guy. But they kill the bad guy in the end, but then she goes blind at the end of the movie, and then like the next part of like this little story that they have going on here is that in the future all 4 of them come together to protect Mama Parker. And that's why I really enjoyed this movie, because I'm not like a massive like Spider-Man fan, so I really liked the whole concept and like the whole time period that this movie took place in. And to be honest, I would want to see a sequel to Madam Web, because I would want to see that story that they were talking about, and like I would want to see that whole story in a movie format, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, and because of that, I think it's a unique Spider-Man movie, and I feel like it's just way overhated, because I liked that they did something different with the Spider-Man universe, in my opinion. Up next at number 7, I'm going with Venom: The Last Dance. So now I can relate that this is not like a great or an outstanding movie, but this one was number 2 in the Spider-Man Sony villain spin-off movies that I ranked. And yes, I actually enjoyed this movie just as much as the first one. I know a lot of people really enjoyed the first one, but then we get this one to cap off the trilogy. And to be honest, I thought that this movie was way this one was way overhated, like Madam Web, because it has all the I feel like it has like all the fun and the charm to it as the first Venom. I'm not a fan of Venom Let There Be Carnage. That one was my least favorite out of all six of those. But then this movie I actually thought was just as good as the first one. But yeah, the main reason on why it's on this list is because I think it's just as good as the first one, and everybody likes the first one. But then on the other hand, people don't like Venom: The Last Dance, and to be honest, I kind of yeah, I kind of wish that they, I kind of wish yeah. I don't know what else to say. I just thought it was a little overhated and drawn out. That's why I had to put it on this list. At number 6, next up, I am going with F9, The Fast Saga, which is the 9th Fast and the Furious film. So now with this movie, I do not understand why people just turn down this movie incessantly. I mean, I get it. They go into space in a very cramped car, and that's really cheesy and absurd. But the whole point of the Fast and the Furious movies is that they're supposed to be absurd and ridiculous, and I don't get why that affects people. Why does that affect you guys? You should know by now that the Fast and the Furious movies are ridiculous. You should not be going in to one of these movies expecting one of these movies to be great. A lot of these movies are great, and I even think this one's great. But that's because I know what I'm getting into with the Fast and the Furious movie. But yeah, so I feel like the main reason on why this movie is overhated is because they go into space, and I am not so sure why people hate why people say that this is the worst Fast and the Furious movie, because I 100% disagree. Up next at number 5, I am going with Kingsman: The Golden Circle, the second Kingsman movie. So now, to be honest, I like all the Kingsman movies the same. But I feel like out of all three of the Kingsman movies that we have gotten, this one gets the most hate. And to be honest, I don't think there is a bad Kingsman movie in the bunch, but I am putting this one on the list because I feel like people don't give this movie enough credit, because I would give this one the same amount of credit like I do with the first one. And yes, I feel like the main reason on why this movie is overhated is what they do with Agent Galahad, which is Harry Hart, the guy that Colin Firth plays. They bring him back, and I'm happy that they brought him back. But I feel like when he's trying to get like his focuses and like his fighting skills back, when he's trying to get all that back, and all he sees is butterflies, that's when I feel like, oh, that's ridiculous. This movie's not that great at all. And yeah, I feel with some movie sequels, there's just like a one little thing that people don't like, and they just think it's so bad that it makes the entire movie not good. And I feel like that's the case with Kings with the Golden Circle. And this movie, I think, definitely deserves more credit. And to be honest, I think I'm not a big fan of Julianne Moore, but I do think she plays I do think she plays a great bad guy in this movie, as a matter of fact. But so yeah, guys, yeah, this movie I think definitely deserves more credit. And if you guys have only seen the first one, I'd recommend you watch the other two because I like all these movies the same, as a matter of fact. Up next at number 4, I might be cheating a little bit, but I actually have Taken 2 and Taken 3 at number 4 because both of these movies are just as overhated equally. The first one's good. It has a simple concept, but then everybody says in those next two sequels the story is rehashed. The story is not rehashed, for crying out loud. Just because they use some of the same tropes in the sequel does not automatically mean that the movie is a rehash of the first one. Because the second one is not a rehash. Neither is the third one. All three of these movies are equally just as good. I even have the 3 film collection for all three of these movies because I really enjoy all of these movies. Watching Liam Neeson kick butt, he's one of my guys, as a matter of fact. And to be honest, both of these movies deserve more credit. Then I know I've been saying that a lot in this video, but again, these movies are just way overhated, and because people say it retreads the first one, I say no, it doesn't. I mean, somebody gets taken every time, but the main plot of the movie is not a rehash of the first one. You need to look at the main plot before you just say this movie's stupid and boring because all they did was rehash the first one. Yes, this is not a sequel you could just hate on and say, "Oh, it's a rehash of the first one." You can't do that with Taken, in my opinion. At number 3, I have Ted 2. So now this is another case scenario like the Taken sequels. I feel like with Ted 2, people hate on this movie because, for one, they don't like comedy sequels, and two, they think that this movie rehashes the first one. And I say this time and time again, it is not a rehash of the first one. They may use some of the same tropes from the first movie, but the main plot of Ted 2 is not a rehash of the first one, because the first Ted, everybody knows, is just like a buddy comedy. And then in Ted 2, the main focus of that movie is not for it to be a buddy comedy. The main plot of it is Ted gets married, he wants to have a baby, but he can't have a baby because he's not legally a person. And so he tries to find somebody to help him become a person legally so he can have a child. That's the main focus of Ted 2. And yes, I will agree that it does use some of the same comedy styles and some of the same tropes from the first movie. But in my personal opinion, it is not a direct rehash of the first movie. And to me, yeah. So yeah, it's just another movie that's just way overhated because I feel like people just don't look at the main plot, and because of some of the same tropes that are used in it, they just automatically think it's a rehash of the first one. At number two, my runner-up, I almost put this at number one, but no, I thought of a much better place at number one, as a matter of fact. But coming in at number two, guys, I have Legally Blonde 2, another comedy sequel, as a matter of fact. So now, I was just talking about Ted 2, so I say a lot of people say comedy sequels aren't very good, as a matter of fact. But half of the time I agree. Half of the time I will say absolutely I agree. Because I like the second Ted, just like I said, and I liked Dumb and Dumber 2 just as much as the first one. I didn't put this one on this list because I understand why that one's overhated, but I enjoyed Dumb and Dumber 2, and but if you're talking about the Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, and the second Zoolander, I will 100% agree. Those movies are dumb, and I will never watch those again. But I actually put Legally Blonde 2 on this list. Same exact reasons with the Taken sequels. In Ted 2, it is not a direct rehash of the first one. In the first one, she goes to college to become a lawyer. In the second movie, she finds out that they're doing animal testing on her dog's mom. She does not like animal testing, and she tries to make it illegal. I did not say she goes to college at all in that description I just mentioned. They use some of the same tropes from the first movie, but the plot of the movie is not a direct rehash of the first movie. You need to look at the plot, not the tropes in the movie. I don't know why people hate on sequels so much, but at times it just feels the hate for stuff like this is just very, very unnecessary, as a matter of fact. And I'm just all like, why are these movies just so overhated? It's just odd, as a matter of fact, that this movie is so overhated. And I even think it's odd that Ted 2 is overhated because it's not a direct rehash of the first one. And the same thing with the Taken sequels, as a matter of fact. Like, to me, those movies should not be overhated. I mean, if you guys prefer the first one, I don't want to take away that opinion for you, but all I'm saying is they should get a little bit more credit because they are not rehashes of the first one, and a lot of people say that they are. But when I look at the plot, I'm just all like, no, these do not feel like rehashes of the first movie, in my opinion. Alright, guys. Coming in number one now. This may shock a lot of you, but this is my opinion. The number one most overhated movie ever, in my opinion, is Alien 3. Why did I put this one at number one or on this list at all? Because I enjoy those first three Alien movies. I really enjoyed Alien 3, and I've actually have heard several people say Alien 3 is like one of the worst movies of all time, the worst of the Alien franchise. It's just it's just I am actually new to the Alien franchise, guys. So because I'm like a more so since I watched these movies more recently, I the only Alien movies that I really enjoy are like the first three and Alien Romulus. And with Alien 3, I think it makes like a perfect trilogy along with the first two Alien movies, because I like how this one picks up where aliens left off. As a matter of fact, I like how they bring back Ripley for another movie. As a matter of fact, but but the one after that, Alien Resurrection, I I did not care for that at all. But yeah, with this movie in particular, I think it deserves more credit than it gets, and this is definitely not the worst Alien movie. It's definitely one of the better Alien movies in my opinion, and I do not get the hate and the criticism that this movie gets. As a matter of fact, I liked it just as much as the first two Alien movies. As a matter of fact, and in my personal opinion, this is easily the most overhated movie in my opinion. So there you have it, guys. There are my top 10 most overhated movies. Well, the most overhated movies that I think are very overhated. As a matter of fact, let me down in the comment section, guys. What movie do you think is really overhated? As a matter of fact, but with that said, though, guys, be sure you hit that like button as well as that red subscribe button, and most importantly, make sure you press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. But with all that being said, guys, I'm gonna go bring you back to more videos, because more videos are on the way sooner rather than later, as a matter of fact, guys. But with that said, though, guys, take care, drink water, and stay safe. And I will see you all in the very next video. Bye.